Gorkha was ruled by an ambitious and rambunctious king named Prithvi Naran Shah, eager to expand his territory. The British, after having consolidated their empire in India, decided to move northwards, helping to occupy some territories in the hills. The Gorkhali army fought vehemently and bravely in the Anglo-Nepalese War 1814-16. That followed. Nepal had to sign an insulting treaty, namely, Treaty of Sugarloaf. If they hadn't signed the treaty and if they'd encounter a defeat to the British, there are 5 things that would have happened if British had ruled over. There are some good and bad that follows. Number 5. No existence of Rana dynasty. Rana dynasty, a Khas Rajput dynasty that were autocratic leaders that ruled the Kingdom of Nepal from 1846 until 1951. According to history, Ranas received tremendous amount of support from the British that led the rule of autocratic Rana regime. The British first arrived in India in the early 1600s and soon established trading posts in a number of cities under the control of the East India Company. By 1765 the company's influence had grown to such an extent that the British were effectively controlling most parts of India and further expanding. The expansion program of East India would have ruled the main ports of Nepal and there would have been no chance of the Rana dynasty to flourish. Number 4. Nepal could have gained or lost 2/3 of land. The Battle of Nilapani was the first battle fought between the forces of the British East India Company and Nepal, resulting in Sugarloaf Treaty for territorial concessions in which some of the territories controlled by Nepal would be given to British India. Britain's preeminence in Asia was challenged in the 19th century by the rise of China and Japan, and its desire to have a seat at the table of European imperialism in the first half of the 19th century. The British extended their influence to the Himalayas and Sikkim signed the Treaty of Tumlong in 1861. If it had been a plan of conquest, the British wouldn't have had relations with Nepal. If left unopposed, the British would encroach into Tibet through Sikkim, Darjeeling and Nepal, setting up East India Company in Nepal and further expanding its territory. Number 3. Development. Britishers were famous for starting public schools accessible to people free of gender, castes, religions and tribal affiliation with the introduction of English as the mandatory subject and official language. Although the number of schools and their rural outreach was pretty scarce and limited in Nepal, providing a legal framework that treated all Nepalese on equal footing, but not so in comparison to a European. Nepal could have developed in a way just like India did in context to infrastructures and railways enhancing transportation to geographically challenged places. To be noted, Nepal at that time was rich in production of silk, wool, herbs and natural resources. It could not only have developed the Britishers but also Nepal in a way that nobody could have imagined of. Number 2. Nepalese history would have been alterated. Nepal being a multi-ethnic, multiracial, multicultural, multi-religious and multilingual country, the rule of British would have shaped the country into modern imperialism of rewriting old histories. Nepal could have lost the identity of the land of brave warriors, the land of Gorkhas. After decades of rivalry between the medieval kingdoms, modern Nepal was unified in the latter half of the 18th century and the rule could have proved a fatal ground for Nepalese to lose what they had gained so far. The riches would be the holder of high British administration and governing posts, and the poor people would have been suppressed and turned into slaves. British dominance would have write its own history of tyranny. Number 1. Nepal could have been used as a trade, transportation spot. East India Company, after well establishing its trade within India, was keen to expand its scope further across the country's northern and northwestern limits. Upon noticing of Tibet being abounded in gold, silver and iron, the British were keen to enter into trade relations with thus secluded country. General Hastings was contemplated on dispatching a mission to Lhasa. The main aim was to assess the riches of Tibet and subsequent scope for the trade with the company. Superior quality of salt was found in large quantities. The British didn't want it to lose time to reach Tibet with its riches lying unattended. With industrial revolution at full swing, British could have used Nepal for all its administration and a new branch of trade and transportation to Tibet, and emphasize the buying capacity of Tibet and her incapacity to provide people with necessities. With such an alluring promise, it seemed that trade could progress to any extent and further expansion. How many of you think that the campaign of British, had it been successful, would it bring a good outcome or a bad one? Comment down your views below and let us know. Subscribe for more content, new videos coming soon. Peace.